Here we go. We'll call this committee of the whole meeting to order on November 25th, 2025 at 6:02 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, is there anybody who'd like to speak under public participation this evening? Okay, for the record, there is no public participation this evening. First item up on the agenda is the oath of office for Brock Casey, firefighter. Brock?
Please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Hi,
Your name.
Brock Casey,
And repeat after me. Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of firefighter
to the office of firefighter
in the city of Lincoln,
in the city of Lincoln,
county of Logan,
in the county of Logan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I'll support the Constitution
that I'll support the
of
Constitution
the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of firefighter
of the office of firefighter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You will need to sign. Sign that real quick.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, next item up on the agenda is request to permit Lincoln's annual Christmas parade, Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Any questions? Place it on the consent agenda. Okay, place that on the consent agenda. Next item is authorization to repair Squad 5100. Chief Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. In the packet, I kind of went through the background of everything, the problems we've been having. I did not supply the original estimate or the estimate we have now just because it's very lengthy. They also took a lot of pictures once they got that motor opened up, so you're welcome to see any of those before next week. You're welcome to get a hold of me and we can discuss it. But right now, as it sits, there's about $10,000 worth of work that's already been done. There is another unforeseen $9,000 worth of work to go. That squad, regardless of whether we fix it or not, in the future, I am going to bring it to you to sell it because we don't get a lot of use out of it, and it's just costing money. It is the recommendation of the Automotive Center, though, to go ahead and repair it because its value is going to be a lot more than if we just try and get rid of it without a motor. So that's where we're at. Are there any questions?
Questions for Chief Johnson? Place the item on the regular agenda. Okay. Place item number 6 on the regular agenda. Okay, next item up is blower building VFD upgrade. Mr. Bounds?
So we've got 4 VFDs that control the blower buildings, blowers up there. We've got 2 that are operational right now of the older ones. They are also installed in a location that is not conducive for them. They are installed in the hottest part of the building, shortens the lifespan. So I am requesting $100,750 to be approved to replace all 3 olders and relocate the one that was replaced within the last couple of years.
Questions for Andrew? Ms. O'Donohue?
So 4 in total?
So we will be purchasing 3 and using the ABB that was installed.
Any other questions? Place this item on the regular agenda. Okay, we will place item number 7 on the regular agenda. Next item up is item number 8, renewal of certificate of deposit in sewer O&M. Is this, Chuck, are you gonna take this one?
Yes.
Mr. Conzo?
Thank you, Mayor. And I've discussed this with Superintendent Bounds, too. This is a CD that will be due here actually prior to the voting meeting that you'll have next week. After looking at a number of different possibilities, we agreed upon the 7-month renewal, which is at 3.59%. We're, as we have many times in the past, looking at inverse curves so that if we went to longer, those rates would actually come down by going for longer CDs, and that's kind of been the situation for a while. So based on that, and this is currently held at Tremont Bank, they would renew it at a rate of 3.59%. What I need to know, if possible, from you tonight is if this were Monday night, would you be agreeable to approving that?
Looks like everybody's in agreement with that. Okay.
Put it on the agenda as well then for a formal vote.
If the council is agreeing, we'll put it on the regular agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item up is the tax levy for 2025. Treasurer Conzo.
Okay, you've all received copies of a number of documents that I sent to you. One of those spells out the amounts, specific amounts that we would take in as a result of either maintaining the levy as it has been for the last year, or 1%, 1.5%, 2%, or 2.9%. 2.9% is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. That would yield about $49,271, which would then be, I would recommend, if you approve that you divide that between the Fireman's Pension Fund and the Police Pension Fund. Fireman's Pension Fund's generally been more smaller than the Police Pension Fund has been, so as in past years, I recommend 55% of that into the Fireman's Pension Fund, 45% into the Police Pension Fund. I think, the documents speak for themselves. I've also provided, what that would mean based on a home with a fair cash value of $100,000. Actually, the tax based on that would go down, assuming the property remained at the same value. The property tax would go down based on what we know as far as the property, the base for levying the tax, property within the city of Lincoln. Any question? I sent a lot of stuff. I sent actuarial reports as well, the municipal compliance report. And as you can see from that, we are significantly under where we should be and where we want to be.
So the question then, Mr. Conzo, as is in past years, to the council then is what percentage, if any, they would like to approve. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And keep in mind, there will be a public hearing as well on the 15th. You won't be able to vote on this until the 15th, so whatever you decide to put on the agenda, of course, can be amended at any time, but this would be on the agenda, the voting meeting on Monday, December 15th, not the meeting on December 1st. And the public hearing would occur at 6 o'clock that day, and then the vote on this would come presumably would be at the regular meeting following that, which would be the last scheduled, at this point in time, the last scheduled voting meeting of the year. And you'd have the next, committee of the whole meeting too, if you wanted to talk about it further.
Would you like an answer this evening from them, or?
The sooner we get it, the better off we are, but I mean, if that's possible.
Okay, is there a suggestion from the council?
2.9%.
Chuck, what opinion, where do you think, Chuck?
I think that, Alderman Downs, I think the 2.9% would be a very good idea. We could even exceed that because we are having the fair tax hearing, public hearing, but I don't recommend doing that at this point. But I think the 2.9% is reasonable. It's not going to show significant increase in anybody's taxes, if any, and may show a decrease in some cases, depending on the property value. So I would certainly go with that. We went for 3 consecutive years without any increase. Last year we used the 3.4%, which was the CPI, but we still have a long way to go. I'm glad you asked that question, Alderman Downs, because I was just reading today, Bloomington faced with a similar situation, as are most places in Illinois, and they actually exceeded the CPI this year. Last year, though, they did not have any tax increase, but this year, I think they went with 3.4 again. This, which was the CPI before, they use that this year for their increase that they voted for, and again, it's for the purpose of funding their police and fire pensions.
Yeah, I would support Alderwoman O'Donohue on this recommendation simply because this is an ask. That's what we're doing here with the tax levy, is we're indicating what we believe we need for operating expenses for the year to follow. The cost of pensions is going up. The cost of everything is going up. We did keep it flat for 3 years. And actually, in looking at it in years past, we actually gave back some. So we're actually behind the curve on this one. And as Alderwoman O'Donohue and the treasurer indicated, doesn't necessarily mean that it will convert to a increase. It could be a decrease for some people, depending on what the EAV comes in at. So that would be my recommendation. Mr. Conzo.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also add, if you look at, there's a draft page of what would be in the ordinance, in the tax levy ordinance that I sent out to all of you. Again, that's subject to change, but you'll notice with each and every one of those lines listed there, the amount in the appropriation far exceeds what we're doing with what we have done in the past and what we're proposing to do now with the tax levy. Not only the pensions, but the others. The property tax doesn't come anywhere near the amount of money that we've had to spend in each of those areas. And I think that speaks for itself. I think we've managed to operate by using other funding sources for those, but there's a limit to those sources as well.
Okay. So unless there's an objection, the treasurer will move forward with the recommended 2.9% for future discussions. Any objections?
And that would be on the 15th again.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Conzo?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next item up is discussion on creating ordinance 3-27 of the Lincoln City Code. Mr. Hoblet.
The last time we spoke about this, it was had only a short amount of time before the next agenda went out. There was some significant edit requests. We had some members of the community come in and speak about this. There was some edit requests to remove some language, even to add some language. With that being said, I didn't want to rush into this and put something forth that was not fully vetted. So therefore, I'm asking for this to be tabled to the next cow, or brought up again on the next cow. That doesn't mean you guys can't discuss it amongst yourselves right now. It's just that I don't have a further edited version for you tonight. That's all.
So then when we get to the meeting next week, it'll just remain tabled. Okay? Anything for Mr. Hoblet from the council? Okay. All right, that brings us down to announcements this evening. The first one, that I have is a little bit ahead, but there's a ribbon cut at Spirited Republic in Lincoln, celebrating their 10th anniversary on Tuesday, December 2nd. And that ribbon cut will be at 4 p.m. And then they'll have some sort of anniversary party that follows on Friday, December 5th. Also, there is a paper that's left on your desk, and it is a memo that came from Ms. Metelko. It is about some approvals that were done by the Economic Development Grant Commission for a couple of grants. We were unable to get them into the packet, so we'll need to place this on the regular agenda for next week if the council is agreeable to that. Any questions about those or concerns? Okay, we'll place them on the agenda for next week as well. You also should have received a email from Mr. Hoblet about the lead lease agreement, and I'll let him speak to the changes that he made to the contract.
So the changes that were made to the contract, there weren't many changes that were made to it. Right now there's office spaces that are uninhabited, and the idea being is that Lee could utilize those uninhabited office spaces until they're rented out by the incubator program. So the change was to indicate that that they would be occupying all unrented office spaces there. Ideally, if they were all rented out, they would still have one office that will remain theirs, along with access to the conference room. But just so they can utilize space until they're rented out by the incubators. The other changes were, changing a title, and adding for utilities that are covered, adding internet as a covered utility. So that's
So
all.
LEAD they had their board meeting last week. They reviewed it with the changes that Mr. Hoblet's indicated, and they approved it with their board to move forward with that relationship. So just need the council to approve this agreement so that we can get that signed. And if you do agree to it, then hopefully we can get LEAD in the building by the end of the year and they can start working out of there.
So
I'm sorry. Miss McClellan had her hand up. Miss McClellan. Correct. Yeah, they very well may assist us in getting those agreements brought to fruition. But this agreement that's before him, you're correct. It is just for our relationship with LEAD. Mr. Parrott, and then Mr. Hoblet.
So with the incubator leases to come, will we be providing internet access to those individuals as well, or is this just for LEAD?
Well, we have not made that decision yet. I think so. We have. Huh?
I mean, it would be very difficult these are just offices within a big office building. It'd be very difficult to parse out utilities amongst all of them. So they likely will.
I mean, that's the idea, but we don't even have a rough draft of an agreement for those incubator occupants. So if we did, it would be worked into whatever that lease amount is.
Yeah, and I'm not for sure how that all would work. I mean, I didn't know if the whole building would just have an internet access that anybody could use, but if they need to have some confidentiality or whatever, so it's not going out, would you have to run individual hookups for each office space or whatever?
So what we've done so far down there is we have put a router in each one of the sections of the building. There's one for the museum, one for the administrative offices, one for the incubator space. So the incubator, it has its own network ID, its SSID. The idea is that those occupants could use that, but if we need to work through some security protocols for them, we can certainly do that. But we're not necessarily trying to get into the operations of their business. We're just trying to provide them a space to operate out of. So, and there are hardwired connections in each of those rooms. There's actually hundreds of ports in that building. And we've been able to work with Eric Nato. And when we need to, for instance, Mr. McCoy's office down there, Ms. Metelko's, he can actually port out what those connections are and then get them hooked up into there's a bank of networking that goes into that building. So, yeah. I don't know. I was kind of roundabout. Did I answer your question?
I mean, yeah, I guess I just didn't know if we're going to play the same with any entity coming in there, as part of an agreement. Just something to think through.
Yeah. So that will come back to the council actually here really soon. We'll get an agreement drafted up that we can use for the occupants. I would like to work with Ms. Runge on that one, since that's kind of her area of expertise, and Mr. Hoblet, since he drafts up a lot of our agreements for us, and then we'll bring it back to you. Okay. Mr. Hoblet.
Just one more thing, Mayor. The dates I have within this contract contemplate, I would anticipate January of 26 to January of 27. Did you made mention just offhandedly there that to get him in there by the end of the year, were you wanting the contract to start for the first period of time to be in December of 25?
I don't really have a firm start date. It's really contingent upon Ms. Runge's workload and the things they have to work out to become an occupant. If you'd like, we can leave that line open-ended so that when we get that hard date, we can write that hard date into the contract, if that's agreeable.
That's fine.
Do you have any concerns with that?
Will this renew all alone, or would they have to come back to the council every year? And
I think what I've anticipated is that it would be a renewing lease unless we say within 30 days. Yeah.
or
So-
if somebody else wants to,
Yeah.
they want to change.
Yeah.
And also, not this particular agreement, but the agreement itself has already been voted on. So on the agenda, is it going to be amended?
Yep.
Lease agreement?
It'd be amended lease agreement.
Okay.
Well, yes, amended lease agreement. The lease agreement has never really been entered into by
But
Ms.
it was
Runge,
voted
but
on.
it was voted on, but
Nobody signed it.
nobody signed it. So
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments on that? Okay, so we'll place that lease agreement on the regular agenda for next week? Okay, thank you. Next up, I believe Mr. Bateman has a topic.
So you're all sent out a draft of a multi-pet license change for the city of Lincoln. The mayor and I have been working through some issues with animal control and have realized, and John also confirmed, that our multi-pet license has a lot to be desired. So these are some changes that we're wanting to make, because I'll be quite honest, we have an animal hoarding problem here in town. We've got people with more than 2 digits of animals, 10 plus, living in a household. So this agreement basically makes it so to obtain a multi-pet license in the city of Lincoln, you would have to first provide a state breeder's permit to be a licensed breeder. Now, for all those people that are freaking out, we're not going to come to your house and collect extra animals, and we'll have to work out some code enforcement issues. But if this goes through and passed as of that date, there'll be a limit on the number of animals you can have in your house. If you have more than that now, again, we're not going to come collect animals. We just ask you to, through attrition, animal passes away or whatever, you need to get down to a respectable number. Right now, what's in that ordinance is 4. And we came up with that number by searching a lot of ordinances in the state of Illinois, and that seems to be the most consistent number with nearly every municipality in the state has a limit on the number of animals you can have.
Are you talking cats and dogs for this number, or
It's 4, a combination of 3 dogs, 1 cat, 3 cats, 1 dog.
but not goldfish or
No,
birds?
we're
or
talking
just
cats and dogs. Yeah, because we already have ordinances against lions, tigers, and bears, and goats, and that kind of stuff.
chickens?
We have an
have
ordinance
one
for
of those
chickens,
too.
but again, enforcement
We do.
will be worked out later, but just kind of like the massage ordinance, it's hard to enforce something if there's not an ordinance in place.
And this is not just for breeders. I mean, obviously, if you're a breeder, you're going to have more than 4 at some point, perhaps 4 or more
Right.
until they sell them or whatever, right?
Yeah, if you read it, most breeders' permits, once you have a litter, you need to get back down to that number once the animals are 6 months old. So that's basically, most of them are adopted by then or sold, like you said. But we have a problem in this town. The city is currently working with animal control to get some things under control, but we also need to change our ordinances so that, as we talk with a lot of other ordinances in this city, to put some teeth in it to where we have an avenue to go down.
Mr. Downs?
So, is this going to come up again at another cow, or is this?
Well, I was hoping the massage thing would be on the next voting session and this would be on the next cow. So at this point, I would like for you guys to read it, get with either John and I with some suggestions, and we'll either, depending on the agenda, we'll either put it on the next cow or push it another cow. It's not a hurry, but I think sometimes this council gets in a rush and doesn't want to discuss things through. So the massage one's kind of a long one, so I'm not wanting to pile on, but I just wanted you to know that this is coming so that you have time to do your own research, get some suggestions from people. I'm sure there'll be some questions, so that way we can get it worked out and get a decent working draft before we bring it up for a vote. But that is the gist of it, is to put a limit of 4 animals per household, state breeder's permit if you're going to get something for more than 4, and then just establish some rules and regulations on how to move forward from that. But again, we're not going to go around and collect other people's animals.
Ms. McClellan and then Mr. Barrett?
Who will monitor that?
That's, quite honestly, Mr. Downs called me, and the first thing I said is it's going to be like anything else. We didn't know a lady had 14 animals in her house until the neighbor called. So it will be self-policing or code enforcement or animal control, a combination of all. But again, once it's passed, we're not going to make you get rid of the animals you have. It's just going to be, if you're the person with 14 animals, at that point, you're going to be on the watch list. So
Most of that's done through animal control, right?
animal
Yes,
control,
correct.
code enforcement, and that kind of stuff. yeah.
Mr. Barrett?
How are we going to know the number of animals a person has? Let's say they have 3 after it passes, and they get a 4th and a 5th. How do we know that they got the 4th and the 5th after it passed and not before?
Chief Meister?
So you're correct in saying animal control is the entity that that would keep track of that, and the reason why is because it's required that a pet owner registers with the county because of rabies shots. They have to go through the county, get their animal vaccinated. If they don't, then technically they're possessing that animal illegally. So animal control maintains those records. It would be animal control that would know John Doe has 12 dogs, or Suzie Q Public has 15 cats, that type of thing.
Is it foilable to find out who has their pets vaccinated and all that?
I suppose that there are certain things that you could get back through a FOIA, but a lot of things would be redacted. I'd leave it to the attorney to
Technically,
answer
the
that.
way,
Addresses, any specific identifying information, phone numbers, dates of birth, things like that.
technically, the way it works is when you took your animal in to get it vaccinated at the vet, and this comes from when I was animal control chairman, at the vet, they filled out the paperwork and sent that into the county, which is then held at animal control county records of vaccinations. But again, as John said, part of this ordinance is you must have your animals inoculated. Well, if we knock on the door and you've got 15 animals and none of them are inoculated, then animal control stands there and tells you and gives you a timeline. I'll be back on this date and you better have 15 records. If not, then they can technically take the animal or you're forced to get it inoculated. So that's another problem we have in this town is people just don't take their animals to the vet, and rabies is a big problem. So unfortunately, because of a lot of people bending the rules or breaking the rules, it's come to this, and those kind of things don't make the newspaper. But Tracy will tell you, we get phone calls, and dealing with animal control, it's been an issue. So again, we have to put some teeth in some paperwork to make this something that we can actually enforce if need be.
So you want to bring this back at a future cow? Is that what you want to do?
Yes. If I get some feedback and we get some wording worked out and some logistics at a future cow, it will be brought forward.
Okay. If you have feedback, please get it to Mr. Bateman. Okay. Mr. Hoblet.
Mayor, I do have one more announcement.
Sure.
If you guys recall, in the past, we were talking about an annexation to be happening to further the solar project we have here in Lincoln for the benefit of our constituents. That is ready to move forward at this time. So you should probably see on the next cow and on the next voting session thereafter, the voluntary annexation request with all the notices to go out. So I just want to give you guys a heads up because it's coming to the end of the year, and so they finally put forth their request to us so that they're ready to move forward.
Mr. Bateman.
The reason that's taken so long is they had to determine the actual parcel that they're trying to annex in. So it's the property that touches ours, so that it would just be one continuous annexed into the city. And they've finally got that surveyed and plotted out, and we got the email today of the actual parcel number. So that's why that's taken a little while is for surveys and land use agreements and stuff to get finalized, but it seems like that's where we're at now. So this would be the solar that's out on the south end of Kickapoo. It would just be an addition further south as part of the community solar project.
Okay. All right. Any other announcements? Okay. If there are no other announcements, I'd like to request a motion to go into executive session under 2C1 personnel.
Motion to go into executive session under 2C1.
Alderman Downs made the motion. Alderwoman O'Donohue second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Okay, going into executive session at 6:36 p.m. There will be no city business to follow.